Sorry?
Can you do video or no?
Well, I can, but I'm still in bed.
All right. Well, that's up to you.
All
I
right.
can just replace you with a picture. All right. Well, all right. I'll just start the show. Welcome to Rat Salad Review, and
All right,
we
all
are
right.
we are here today with Markus. Now, on your Skype thing, it says Grobkopf, and I know it's Grosskopf. So what is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. It's Grosskopf. I mean,
Oh,
we got a letter in Germany that's called SZ,
oh, okay.
and it's very similar to the B,
Oh,
you
okay.
know,
All right.
and
Yeah,
it's a
yeah, yeah.
substitute for double S.
Oh,
So they
all right.
use it from time to time for official reasons, you know, because it's standing like this in my passport, and so people think it's a B,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then they write Grobkopf.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember all of the early releases of the Helloween albums. There was always a B there, and it's like, I know it's two S's, but
Yeah,
all right.
it's like Germany is the only place that they have this like substitute thing for a double S,
Yeah.
and so everywhere else they think it's a B.
Very cool. All right. So how's everything going? How's the with Michael Kiske and everything back in the band? How's everything going with the new
Yeah,
album?
nice. It's good. He's in a good shape. He's in a good mood, and he likes it a lot. And as you probably know, Michael, as everybody knows, Michael, he wouldn't do such a thing if he doesn't like it. You know,
Right. Yeah.
that's what he did earlier. He's not doing anything he doesn't like. He's not doing it for any money of the world. Then he's rather staying at home doing some different stuff than doing something that he doesn't like, you know.
Right.
He's just like that kind of guy. And now he feels very well singing together with Andy, hanging out with us. He was finding his way back into that type of metal with us, you know, and
Yeah.
he became a big part of it again, and he sees it with different eyes now after all he went through, and so well he feels well, and he's going for it. And if he's going for something, he goes for it like 100%, you know, and
Mm,
that's nice to hear.
very cool. Yeah, I was very surprised when that whole announcement came out that he was coming back in a band, and you got Kai Hansen in the band. How's that been with Kai Hansen back?
Yeah, Kai Hansen is a good story because we had him on tour like the Hellish Rock tours we did. We did
Hmm.
two of them with Gamma Ray, and he was on stage already for a couple of songs, so it was kind of familiar to have him around always and to
Yeah.
be on stage with him. But it was still something very different to have him on stage like all the time. You have to have some traffic lights now on stage
Yeah. Yeah.
to get the traffic done because there's
Uh,
two more persons running around now.
right. Yeah.
But I like it, you know. It's great. It's good to have him. He's a family member, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys kept in touch pretty much throughout the years, even though
Yeah,
he left.
we've been hanging out here and there, and we were meeting and we were playing together. It's been a good time, but now it's just something very different, you know, something real. It feels very good to hang out with those guys. It feels very good to get some musical ideas from him and Michael, and you know that can be very interesting going into the studio. So
Right.
far, we are working at home on our own tracks, getting tracks together, getting ideas together. But then we take in all this stuff, going into the studio for 3 months, and there we have the possibility to go into the recording room and rehearse whatever we like to do, and checking out things and trying out ideas, and if it's good enough, directly recording it, you know. That's
Yeah.
the way we're doing it right now. The backline will be standing there for like 3 months, and whenever you feel like checking out an idea, you can go in there, working on it, and directly recording it if it's strong enough, you know. That's a good way of working, I guess. We're going back to this kind of thing,
Yeah.
creating a lot of this stuff in the studio.
Very cool.
Is somebody
Awesome.
is somebody stepping on your cat or something?
No, somebody's opening a door. I guess I had to put some DW-40 on that
Yeah,
door.
yeah. That's it.
Or spray some Pam on there or something. Um, yeah, so it's awesome. So yeah, that's with Michael Kiske. I mean, he's because he for a while like he was like totally against metal. So
Yeah,
now
well,
he's good with it.
he was actually against the most aggressive kind of satanistic stuff and all
Yeah,
of that. You know,
right.
he's like us. He's a great Iron Maiden, Judas Priest,
Mhm.
Queensryche fan. He was always like this. He was only against like this aggressive kind of growling and yeah, color your face kind of Satan stuff, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But now he's a little different. He says he doesn't like it really, but he says, "All right, if there's people liking it, so what? You know, what can I
Yeah.
do? If they want to go for it, let them go for it. But it's
Yeah.
nothing for me." And you know, he's a bit more relaxed after all those years,
Mm.
so he can deal with things he hated before. He still hates it, but he's not going against it in that
Right.
way. He's very very cool in his opinions
Yeah.
and in his stuff, you know, and that's
Yeah.
great, and that makes it very very easy to work with him nowadays.
All right. Very cool. Awesome. Do you have like all the songs kind of almost done yet for the new album, or you still got a
Well,
lot to go?
we have that a positive problem, so to say, that we have too many songs in a way,
Oh, okay. That's
because we
good.
have like 30 kind of songs and ideas, but we don't know what we're going to take for the album. That's why we go into the studio checking out this stuff, you know,
Yeah.
what comes across the best way, what do we feel is the best for the album. And we got people from the management and from the record company coming over, and the producer. We need people from outside also to select songs, and they most of the time they have a different view, you know. If you write
Right.
something, it's too close with you, and
Yeah.
you need people from outside telling you, all right, this is going to be a killer track, or you know, it's a good idea just to go into the studio checking all those stuff out. And then yeah, I mean there's songs we say we know from the beginning that's going to be a killer track, but
Mm.
then there's a couple of tracks we don't know if it's better than the other one, or you know, then we need to decide.
Yeah.
Or if you have a demo tape done by yourself at home, it might come out very very different when you do it with a band, you know. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
it will change a lot from song to song, from track to track, and then suddenly you have a killer track that was not showing itself from the beginning, but in the
Mm.
studio it becomes like a killer track, you know, and the
Yeah.
other way around too.
Yeah. Yeah. You need all those people to make turn that song into magic. You know.
Yeah. And it has to grow with it. It has to get this magic, you know. This
Yeah.
it needs some songs. They need really need that magic touch from
Right.
all of the band members.
Yeah. Exactly. Are you still working with the same producers you've been for the last few years now?
Yeah, we have like Charlie Bauern signed.
Yeah. Yep. I can never pronounce his name, so that's why I didn't even say it.
And then as a co-producer or an engineer, we have Dennis Ward. This
Okay. Oh,
time,
all right.
you
Oh,
know, bass
cool.
player from Pink Cream '69.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
great.
he's
He's great.
awesome. Yeah.
He's very very great as with engineering, and he's a killer bass player. Especially for me, he's very very unique. I giving you unique ideas, and
Mm,
he plays all the styles. You know,
mm, yeah.
he has a great technique and great ideas. It's very inspiring, you know.
Yeah.
And we got him into this recording session as an engineer, so to say, and that's great, you know.
Yeah.
I like it.
So he's been getting along with Andy, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. I know him for years and years and years, and
Yeah.
it's cool. He's a
Yeah.
cool guy.
Yeah, that's cool. That brings it like kind of full circle because Andy was in Pink
Yeah,
Pink
yeah,
Cream
yeah.
'69 and everything, so that's cool.
It's great. It's nice.
And then Dennis worked with Kiske and Unisonic and
Yeah.
the
They
Place
know each
Vendome
other.
and all that stuff.
They know each other very well, and he's a good guy, and so he fits very much into that production.
Yeah, awesome. I'm a huge Helloween fan. I mean, if you had the video on, you would see I made a whole nice background for you, and you're not even.
I can see it in the back.
Oh, you can't see. Okay. I have more than
And
that.
you have a drum kit standing there.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, huge. I mean, I've been a huge fan since like God, since like 91-ish, I think.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. A friend of mine gave me Keepers 2, and
Yeah.
totally changed my world.
It did change my world too.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It's nice.
But even like like after that, like after Keepers 2, I mean, you guys had a lot of issues with the record label and stuff, right? Like when
Yeah,
you were doing
that was
Pink.
tough times, you know. It was all about business, money, and we were young and not so clever with all that business stuff, which is absolutely normal when you start doing music. You want to go
Right.
out and rock the
Mm,
crowd, you know, and you're not really thinking about that business kind of stuff. You just want to go out there and, yeah, you know, you want to go out on the streets
yeah.
making it happen. And each and every band I know, they step into that trap when they get bigger on their way. Somewhere there's like that time you just get to deal with all this stuff, you know. It's
Right.
not a funny story, and it takes a lot of energy away from the band in a way. But you couldn't kill a band like Helloween.
Yeah.
we,
Yeah.
we did it again. We started again, and we had no money, we had no record deal. We just had the name of the band, and with that name, we started from the scratch again, like twice, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So was it like how hard was it like when yeah, when you had Pink Bubbles Go Ape and everything? Because when I found you guys, I only heard those first three albums and I couldn't find anything else on you because there was no internet back then either. So
Yeah, it's been a rough time. People wanted to do something different. We had all this record company struggle. Kai left, and it was a different, very, very rough time, you
yeah,
know. And then we did all this different stuff, and that was a great thing. When Andy came back, he said, "I'm only joining the band if we do some real Halloween stuff," you know.
right,
And
yeah,
then that was actually a good point of view from somebody seeing Halloween from the outside, you know,
mm,
because sometimes you go different ways. That's a bit weird, and you can really see what's going on,
yeah,
having all this struggle, having all these problems. But then Andy coming in from the outside, seeing it with different eyes, was a very good point of view. Doing the Master of the Rings, which is for me like one of the best coming back albums from
mm-hmm,
Halloween.
yeah,
That's nice.
yeah. Is that your favorite Halloween album? I mean, I know you've done so many
Well,
freaking
it's
albums,
it's
but
one of them. It's one of
yeah,
them. It's definitely one of those albums bringing us back to what we are, to what we can do best. You know.
right, yeah, yeah. You got to kind of start over again.
Yeah, yeah.
Now my first,
Also, although I like the albums in between, you know, the
oh,
Pink Bubbles and the Chameleon. It was like good music as a musician, having a long career, having two albums like this out. From the musical point of view, I kind of like it, but it's just not what you would expect from Halloween, you know.
right, yeah,
It's,
exactly. Like when actually my first CD I ever owned was Pink Bubbles Go Ape. I ended up finding that
yeah,
like
yeah,
I,
it's very different from the
it
Keepers, or
is.
it's kind of different from the mini LP and the Walls of Jericho, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, just a little.
But then having this in your back catalog is kind of interesting, at least, you know.
Yeah, it is because it gives the band something else to show that they can do. It's not
Yeah, yeah.
always the same power metal,
Hmm.
speed metal type
And we
stuff.
did always touring with it, you know. We never
Hmm.
stopped touring. We've been out on the streets for ages, even with albums that they call not being Halloween enough or something. The
Yeah,
the crowd was a little smaller, but we still went out there playing with it, you know.
yeah. And Chameleon, when I first bought that album, I was just like, I loved it. I still love it to this day. And I know that a lot of fans don't really care for that album, but
Yeah,
it's one of my personal favorite ones.
it's
All
it,
my friends that they found out that I had that on CD and they wanted to borrow it from me. I had like
yeah.
5 or 6 friends that we shared it. And
Yeah, and if listening to the mini LP or to the Walls of Jericho, and then right after that listening to the Chameleon, it's a big difference. It's a
yeah, it's
different band, right? So
it's a huge shock.
I can somehow understand when the true, like, so to say, like a true metal fans thinks it's a weird album for a band like Halloween, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
in the end of the day, it's funny.
yeah. Did you think the band would maybe be over when that album came out because it had really such a bad press?
It's been weird because we had all that strange conversations about it and really weird reactions. So we thought, well, the next album was going to be a little different as well, you know.
Yeah.
No, we wouldn't give up, you know. We always thought we can always do something different again, you know.
Mm. Yeah. Um, when what's his name? When Ingo
Yeah.
left the, I don't know if did he leave the band? Because like I said,
Well,
there's
he
no
wasn't.
internet, so I have no idea like what the full story, what happened with Ingo was.
He was kind of schizophrenic. He got into a very deep schizophrenia kind of thing.
Oh,
He
really?
had like two souls, a good
Mm.
one and an evil one, and he couldn't find out which was like. And we never had that, you know. We're not
Mm.
really familiar with that,
All right.
so we had to we had to get in professional people and psychologists to trying to get this right again. And we brought him to doctors, and we brought him into rehabilitation centers and all that stuff, you know,
Mm.
twice. And for weeks and weeks he's been there, and he wouldn't really get better. He said he's getting better, but if somebody with that sickness telling you he's better, you know from the beginning that he's kind of sick still, you know. He and it affected his drum playing a lot, you know,
Yeah.
because if you're not 100% right in your head, you cannot do something in a band like Helloween, like
Yeah.
professional working, professional touring. We had to cancel shows because of that in Japan and all of that
Wow.
stuff. And you know, in the middle of the gig, he kind of freaked out, and we had to stop the show, like in the last quarter,
Oh,
stopping
wow.
the show, going off stage. You know, that was scary. And then we brought him to all these doctors to get him right again, but it wasn't working. You know,
Wow.
it's the saddest story. It's the saddest part of Halloween. You know,
Yeah.
but when you're young, you don't have a clue what's going on.
Right.
And being so close to him, you cannot tell him to stop this or to do things very different, because we did it. We did it all together. Why would he listen to me? You
Mm.
know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was a shame when I saw I think it was Time of the Oath, and then back of that you had like a rest in peace to Ingo, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I
So
think
what?
Michael Kiske even wrote a song
Yeah, yeah. That was
about
a
it for him.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was a sad song.
yeah,
That's a hard song to listen to.
yeah. It is. It
Great
is. Yeah,
great
but at
song.
least he had his feelings about it, putting it down to the CD. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it was his way to deal with it. You know, which is
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah. Now, if he ever did get straightened out, I guess would he have been back into the band?
Oh yes, of course we were trying
Mm.
a lot. You know, we were giving
Yeah.
him time to get better and give having a break to for him to relax or to get himself back into a normal condition. And then we were doing festivals with him, and always scared that he's
Yeah.
going to freak out about a big situation, being on stage playing like what was that festival's called? Big two big festivals in Nuremberg at that time, Rock
Yeah, I don't know.
and Ring or
Rock and
something.
Hell or something,
Yeah,
maybe.
something.
I don't
Those
remember.
big festivals played with David Lee Roth and bands like this. You know,
Mm.
we were always we had to get one person just taking care of him, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been very weird situation, and a very different way of playing. And then he kind of couldn't handle the drums after that anymore, you know.
Yeah.
And then we had to do something, getting him to rehabilitation, you know. And then
Yeah.
he wouldn't find his. I guess he kind of opened some doors in his mind that he couldn't, and found something behind those doors that was very scary.
Right.
You know, he
Mm.
heard all those voices. The way he has described it to me, it was like he heard all those cruel voices
Wow.
that you can imagine. For him, it's hard to explain, but he told me that all these voices uh, telling him all that cruel stuff, it was so
Oh,
real for him. It was
wow.
like living in this cruel world, and he couldn't get out of it, you know. and
Wow.
and, and he couldn't really close that doors in his head anymore once he opened it. That was the way he described it to me. And for his, it was like this bubble, this world, this cruel world he was living in. He couldn't find a way out once he was in, you know.
Wow. So that just came on. Like he never had no signs of anything beforehand.
Yeah,
Right?
well, it was like a
Oh.
slow growing process, you know. But
Mm.
you don't realize in the beginning, but then you see him getting more weird and weird after
Wow.
months and months, you know. It's
Yeah.
not just there from one day to another. It's just slowly creeping at you somehow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, he was a huge influence on my drumming. Actually, that's how I learned how to play, faster drums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny story when we started off doing music. When I joined Kai Hansen and Pete Sieg and Ingo Schwichtenberg,
Mm.
when they didn't even have a name or they being called Gentry at that time, you know.
Right.
There was like Pete Sieg and Kai Hansen sharing the vocals. There wasn't any double bass involved, you know. It's
Oh,
just
really?
Kai came one day. He came into the rehearsal room with a second bass drum, totally different color, totally different size than the one that's been there.
Mm.
Putting it into the drum set, saying to Ingo, "All right, you play double bass now." And that was a couple of weeks before we did uh, the recordings for the death metal sampler. You know that
Oh,
one?
okay.
It
Yep.
was
Yep.
like just right before that, a couple of weeks before that, he started doing the double bass, and the
Wow.
producer said, "Oh, that's tough. Oh, it was a bit flappy, but it was working somehow, but not as it
Yeah.
should be, you know." So he kind of mixed it down a little bit, but it was there. The energy was there at least, and then he
Yeah.
started rehearsing it, and then he got better every day, you know.
Yeah. How was it back in those days? Because we had Pete on a couple months ago. He was a really cool guy. We talked
Yeah,
about it a little bit.
yeah. He's got his band, and I think he's lucky with the stuff he's doing a record from time to time, doing a couple of cool gigs. You
Hmm.
know, he seems to be very satisfied with what he's doing, and that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you like his saving stuff?
Yeah, it's great stuff. It's good traditional metal, and his voice
Mm.
is cool.
Yeah.
It's nice stuff. Some very good melodies, some cool guitar playing. I hang around with his bass player from time to time, going fishing
Oh, really? Wow.
and drinking some beers from time to time in this garden. It's on the Elbe River. It's
Oh,
cool.
wow. That's nice. Wow, cool. You get to
Yeah,
stay all one big circle there.
with Jan Eggert.
Yeah. Now you mentioned you're friends with that bass player. You put out that the Bass Invaders thing. You ever going to do another one?
I don't know. I have ideas for another idea. I wouldn't tell you now.
Mm.
It's a crazy idea, but it's way back in my head now. You know, we got to concentrate on what we're doing now,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's been a lot of work producing it and getting all these people together. You know, as I did it all by myself, I didn't want the management to arrange it. I
yeah.
wanted to have the experience how it is to put that together by yourself,
Mm.
getting all the connections together and all the payments for the people. I did it all myself, and it took me
Wow.
a whole year to put that
Uh,
all together. Even in my holidays, I had to call up people, I had to arrange things, you know.
mm.
And it's a long story to do a thing like this, and I just simply don't have the time to do this now. But
Yeah.
maybe one day, you know.
Mm. Yeah, even with Shock Hunter, I guess you're probably done with that now. 'Cause that's been a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time
yeah.
ago.
That was Kick Hunter, yeah.
Oh, Kick Hunter.
Kick
Kick
Hunter.
Hunter and
and
Shock.
and,
I'm thinking
and
of Shock Machine.
Shock
Yes.
Machine and Kick Hunter.
Yes. I confused both of them.
You can call it Kick Machine and Shock Hunter.
Yeah. Maybe that's a new band.
Yeah.
Can combine both of those bands together,
Yeah,
and then
right,
there you
right.
go.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
I'll take 10% on
Kick,
those sales.
yeah, Kick. No, then I call it Kick Shocker, and you don't get anything of it.
Thanks, great. Oh boy. At least can I get a thank you in the thank yous?
Sorry?
I can get a thank you
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. I take your picture, the one with the big ape. That will be the cover.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And I call the album Ape Shit. That's your credit.
Yeah, I'll take it. Whatever I can get. Man. I saw you guys do the United tour back in, when the hell was that? September, October. I'm in New York, so
Yeah. All right.
yeah. And when I was watching you guys do the United tour, you had all these big stages because you're playing Japan, everywhere else, but New
Yeah.
York you get to, and you get to these little tiny places here.
Yeah, that was like, but the club was great, We had
Yeah,
mutual fun there. It's different. I was standing in my corner, couldn't move because
right.
the stage was very tiny, which
Yeah,
is cool, I felt like Ian Hill from Judas Priest, staying in my corner, just playing the bass and shaking your head a little.
yeah,
But the show was, we had two shows there, and they were
right.
both very, very great. I kind of
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah,
It's like you do big things, and then there's a time we're not quite as big in North America, so
right.
we also able to deal with like tiny places from time to time, which
Yeah,
is cool. You can shake hands, you can get a fresh beer from the audience directly. I,
yeah,
I kind of like it.
yeah. Actually, a couple of years ago, I was driving to one of the places you were playing at, and you were actually outside talking to
Uh,
people and shaking people's
yeah,
hands. I was like,
yeah,
man, if I was just there a few minutes earlier, I could have met you.
yeah, this is the great spirit about places like this.
Yeah,
I kind of
yeah,
like it.
yeah. Do you see the popularity getting any bigger now that since Kiske and Kai are back in the band?
Oh yeah, we did much bigger places. We
Mm,
got a big following, and we did one song already during the last rehearsal time, the Pumpkins United song, and it was working great. So
yeah,
we have a slightly idea, but this was like done in between the rehearsals, which was a lot of work to do because we had to squeeze in a third guitar into a 3 hour show.
mm,
Trying to figure out if this third guitar is playing harmonies or rhythm stuff during the twin solos or making some, yeah, we had to figure all that out. We had to figure out what both of the singers will be singing or together or alone and all that. It was a lot of work, and in
yeah,
between we squeezed that song, so it was not really a normal songwriting situation. But this
right,
is what we are doing now, just concentrating. Well,
yeah,
we rehearsing for the tour now, but we have a lot of stuff.
mm,
When we come back, we just go into the studio, checking it out. Just concentrating on studio work. That's
yeah,
gonna be a little different then.
yeah. Who decided who was going to sing, like what songs, or if they were going to sing together? Was that Andy and Kai and Kiske, or
Uh,
pretty
uh,
much everybody?
they we had rough ideas to
Mm,
get a couple of songs just singing by Michael Kiske and a couple of songs just done by Andy, but then there was also Dennis Ward had like a good idea who's singing what and all that. We had a rough plan from him.
mm, yeah,
But in the rehearsal room, it turned out to be that they found themselves singing together because it was like harmony-wise in the same range. So the understanding of that song was in the same kind of thinking. So they found out what they're gonna sing together the best way. It was very interesting, really.
yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I wasn't sure how things were going to be, because I really didn't. I try not to watch any videos online. I didn't want to ruin the show for myself. I try not to. No spoilers.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's happened today. You do the first show, and the whole world knows already what's going to happen, what to expect.
right,
It's kind of sad in a way, but you have the
right.
chance not to watch it before you go to
Yeah,
the show.
yeah. It's very tempting to watch and see what happens. But
Yeah.
although I did see some of the stuff, like when you first started the tour, there was a lot of problems with Kiski's voice, right?
In the very first beginning, yeah, we,
Yeah,
we had all this promotion for the tour, and then there was like big talking about everything and blah blah,
mm,
as you can imagine. And then his voice kind of got sick a little,
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah,
very very beginning.
yeah,
But we got over it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so a lot of people giving Kiski shit, but the guy can still sing.
Yeah, but it's been like the very first show. We didn't want to start with a cancellation.
Right,
And so
exactly.
and so we decided to give it a little from that rehearsal playback we had. We had some rehearsal room recordings, and we just took a couple of the high notes, the high line vocals from the chorus lines, and just fading in, and then you get a little problem from time to time when you're not really used to do this, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then after that we stopped it, but we didn't want it to start the first show with a cancellation, you know.
Right. Yeah.
After
Yeah. You
we
could.
had all this rehearsals and all this big organization around it, but
Yeah. Of
it
course.
was like only the very first show we had that little trick going on, and after that we have 2 days off, and we had doctors coming in and all that kind of stuff if we do the cancellation or not. And he had a hell of a lot of pills to take. He was a little bit he was, you know, just like flying in the air with all that stuff, and then he was able to sing again.
Right. Well, that's good. I'm glad that all straightened out and everything.
Yeah.
So, do you ever still talk to Roland or Uli at all?
Well, not really. We're not really calling each other up, but I saw Oli once in between in a festival, which was near his place, and Roland was there. We came in sharing a beer or something, you know, but not on this tour, I have to say. It was on one of the other tours when we were like without Hansen and without Kiske. He showed up saying hello, grabbing a beer, saying shaking hands, you know. I guess he was in the beginning. I guess he was a little sad that he's not been asked for like this reunion,
Right.
Which is a little sad for him. But it was about the keeper times, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And that's definitely Kai and Michael, you know.
Now Roland recorded a bunch of Helloween songs. Did you get to hear that album, the Pump
No,
Kings?
I didn't hear it now. Maybe I'm going to listen to it a little later. But it was all songs from him he wrote while he was in Helloween, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
All
pretty
right.
cool.
Yep. And he
it's
called
not
it
bad.
Pump Kings or what?
Pump Kings, yeah.
Is he touring still? Yeah, from time to time.
I think so. I think so. Yeah, I really haven't seen much from him. I don't know. Yeah.
I think he's producing a lot.
Oh, is he?
He's doing his studio work at home, producing bands, and then actually, I think he's a little lazy not touring that often.
Hey, I mean, God, he's been doing it forever, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys are still going strong. Like, you know, nothing's going on. It's like just head out on the road and go.
Yeah, we just do new things, and especially now, it's for all of us. What we are doing now is Halloween, but it's something very, very new for us. You know, it's surprising all the time, and we got new ideas. It's very inspiring right now.
Yeah. Now back on the oh my God, why am I drawing a blank now? See, I was ready for this at like 6 o'clock this morning, and they threw me all off.
And I kept you waiting a little, right?
Yeah, you did. I'm sitting there. Good thing I had things to do. Rabbit Don't Come Easy. How was it working with Mickey D?
Oh, that was great. You know, he had that. He has this punch. He has this ass. You know, he definitely got the balls for something like this. He has the guts to do something like this, and it sounds greater than ever. You know. I guess I'm waiting for the moment we go into South America now, when we see the Scorpions. Actually, the very first time we have something to do with the Scorpions, which I like a lot, because one of my very, very first album I bought was like the Scorpions Tokyo tapes, you know, the very first live album, and where they kind of opened the Japanese market for German rock music or metal and stuff like this, which is great. I still love this album. And now playing with them, having Mickey D behind the drums, you know, I guess he's kicking the band absolutely in the ass, you know.
Oh, I could imagine.
He's a killer drummer.
Oh my God, yeah, another huge influence, because I'm a big King Diamond fan, and that's how I got into him.
That was funny when we played somewhere at some festival in South America. There was King Diamond and Merciful Fate. Right after another, and then King Diamond went off stage, changing just a tiny little bit from his makeup, being Merciful Fate then.
Wow, that's cool.
And played 2 shows on the same day right after another.
Wow.
Which was cool. I liked the band a lot.
Yeah, so do I. Maybe my second favorite band from you guys. You're my first.
It was kind of unique with the way he was singing and all that, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's way different than anybody else. It's like the heavy metal Bee Gees, basically.
Yeah, kind of stuff, but it's been done in a real
Right.
In a way you wouldn't say it's cheesy or something. It had some balls to it. I
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah. What's some other favorite bands you're into? Are anything new out now that you're
No, I
really into?
don't. Well, I don't know really. I still listen to the old stuff, to the Who, to UFO, to Wishbone Ash, the Scorpions,
Yeah.
and all that Schenker stuff, and Uli Roth. I like a lot.
Yeah.
I listen to Chuck Berry and stuff
Oh
like
wow.
this,
Mm.
and of course Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, uh, what, some Dream Theater stuff. The Images and Words is still one of my favorite
Oh
albums.
yeah. Yeah.
It's a killer album, and all that good old stuff I'm still listening to.
Yeah. Now, who's the bass player that got you into playing bass?
I must say that was kind of Steve Harris. Well, I was listening to punk before,
Okay.
so it was Sid Vicious and the Sex Pistols and the Ramones and Dee Dee, but they weren't exactly great bass players. I just loved like the energy of that music.
Right.
I came to the heavy metal when I was listening to Deep Purple and Iron Maiden and all that stuff. I can remember falling off the chair listening to the very, very first Iron Maiden album.
Right.
And I was just like amazed by it.
Yeah.
That really
Yeah.
got me into from the punk into the metal scene, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. What changed you guys? Because like you just said, you guys were kind of almost, I guess maybe punkish when you first started out, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you introduced all the double bass stuff, and not
yeah.
I don't think really any bands were doing double bass things back then,
Well,
really.
when I came into Gentry, they were like heavy metal already. They
Mhm.
were on that pre-stylish kind of thing. I was just changing from a punk band to a metal band
Yeah.
in the early days. I never played punk with Kai or something. They
Yeah.
started off with metal. I started off with punk going into metal.
Yeah.
And I still like punk, the Sex Pistols, the Ramones, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just listening to Ramones the other day. They're good.
Yeah, yeah, it's great stuff. You don't listen to
Yeah.
it for a year and a half, and then you go on a plane checking out what stuff you can listen to for hours and hours, and then you go back to that old Ramones and Sex Pistols stuff from
Yeah.
time to time. That's music. It's great memories. You
Yeah. It
had a great
is.
summer with that kind of band, and you had a great girlfriend with that type of music. It's great memories. That's what music is supposed to transport.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Especially what they were able to do with just a very few chords.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of like that. It's good to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's like AC/DC. I mean, what if they haven't really
Yeah,
changed up
yeah.
their style forever? So it's
It's nice. It's one of the greatest rock bands ever.
yeah. You guys ever get to
Yeah.
play with them?
No, actually not. They not even do Wacken. They don't even do any festivals at all. I never saw them on any festival
Oh
because
wow.
they actually do bigger shows on their
Yeah.
own than
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
can see on Wacken.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense for them to do Wacken when they can do they say the same kind of people on their own. you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and they're still going, so
Uh,
that's cool.
are they?
Uh,
Who's singing? Is that Brian
um.
Johnson again or what?
Yeah, they got Brian Johnson back, and then they got Phil Rudd back too.
Oh, and the bass player is he back? Or
No, I think he quit. I
ah,
think he
oh,
left. I'm not.
he,
I'm not sure. It's so
he
messed
kind
up.
of retired.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
and then Malcolm Young's son or somebody's playing
yeah, all
his
right,
part,
all right, yeah, yeah, yeah. They're
which makes
doing
sense.
they're doing an album, right? Are they?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Apparently, yeah.
listen to that one
Yeah,
soon.
yeah. Yeah, there was apparently pictures of them going into the studio and recording. I was actually hoping to hear Axl Rose do something with them.
Well, yeah. Well, it was like I had different mixed feelings about him on the AC. He's a good singer and all that, but well, having ACDC seeing this way, I found it
Mm.
weird. But
Yeah, it is
the
weird.
guy just couldn't stop playing,
Right.
which
Yeah.
is okay. Which I would do the same. I wouldn't. If there's nothing to do, go out and play somehow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Is music all you do, or do you have something else on the side that you do?
No, music is actually my life. I go fishing a lot and hanging
Mm.
out there, and I'm cooking, but the biggest passion is music.
Yeah. No, you're lucky. I've always tried to do that, but it just never works out. That's why you see my drum set sitting back there, and I'm not.
Yeah. I see. Is that your studio at home? Kind of.
This is kind of. It's my man cave / storage room.
Yeah. Get a couple of friends coming in, do some music, drink some beers.
Yeah. Yeah, I do record stuff down here, but
all right.
It's slowly but surely getting done. Yeah, so Andy's getting along with everybody and everything.
Yeah, it's great. I was just drinking a little with him last night. Went out a little, cruising some bars in Karlsruhe because we have a day off today. We go out for dinner, eating deer. That is a great region for deer.
Oh, wow.
On the Rhine River here,
close
to where we rehearse. That's where we're going out for some dinner tonight, hanging out at nice weather. I have my wife here. It's 2 weeks good rehearsal and going out for dinner, having a drink. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
Now, was Andy ever scared since you were inviting everybody back? Was he thinking maybe that
No, actually not. He Andy was very cool because he used to get shit from some people because he was singing all those Michael Kiske tracks, and of course there's people hating him because they wanted Kiske back. But he took it as a man, saying, "All right, I know it's different," and he probably sings it better. But now I'm in Helloween, we're doing tours and all that. There's no way leaving out those songs, So
you can't.
I'm gonna sing it, even if I sing it very different. I sing it my way. But it's a part of Helloween, and we're gonna do it, even if you don't like it. But there's enough people liking it, and therefore I love him. He goes out there doing his thing. You're never getting tired of all this, He took a lot of shit from the people, taking it as a man, I like that attitude, and that's him. That's what we need. And he was the very first guy saying, "Wow, that's a great idea, singing together with Michael, that can be very interesting because you can only increase the creativity with two singers like that, That's what he saw from the very first beginning. And I was lucky to hear that,
Yeah. Now, before Andy came in the band, I read something weird that the singer Whitfield Crane from Ugly Kid Joe was considered for Helloween. Was that true?
No, that was never the word in Helloween. I don't know who said that.
I just read it somewhere in some magazine or something like a long time ago.
All right, no, nobody told me really.
I just thought that's kind of interesting though, because he does sound somewhat similar to Andy a little bit.
Maybe somebody mentioned him in an interview that it could be a good idea or something, but it never came to me. Maybe Mikey, or I don't know.
Yeah. And I also too remember was Ralph Sheepers somehow involved?
Oh, there's somebody.
Yeah, they're leaving again.
Kicking the cat again.
Yeah, that damn cat.
Kicking the cat.
Now, was Ralph Sheepers involved with Helloween at some point too, like in the early stages?
Not really. He's a great singer and he's a good friend of the band, but he was never really there as an idea for a singer in Helloween. There was Andy from the very beginning.
Okay.
Because we knew him, and I guess at that time Ralph Sheepers was like singing in Gamma Ray anyway, right?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, but I mean, like back in the early beginnings.
Well, that was like thinking of when we didn't had a clue about Michael Kiske. Of course, we talked about Ralph Sheepers one day. I can remember, but then we met Michael, and then it was all clear,
Yeah. Yeah, I think he might have made a better choice. I mean, I love Ralph Sheepers.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Awesome.
Good singer.
Yeah. Oh crap! Now you stumped me. Now, what was I on? What was I on? Now I have to edit this shit.
You got to cut it together, right?
Yeah. You know what? It was the cat. The cat.
The cat got you out of your concept.
I do have a cat. He's upstairs.
The kicking cat.
How hard was it to pick a set list?
That was pretty tough, Everybody had ideas and each member wanted to play different songs. But the good thing about it is that we carry on with that Helloween United stuff. So the next tour is going to be some different songs we didn't play on that one, So
Mm.
that can be very interesting, making the next set list.
Yeah. Are you ever going to pick anything off of Chameleon?
I don't know. It can well be from time to time. We have to see. See, there's so many stuff you could squeeze in as a
You
surprise.
got, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you got so many albums to choose
Yeah.
from, so it's hard.
Yeah. Mhm.
But you got to throw Giants in there. That's one of my
Yeah,
favorite
Giants
songs.
might be a very good idea.
I mean,
I,
that'll
I,
fit right in with like
yeah,
anything.
yeah, I can imagine it's a good idea, but there's so many stuff you don't really think about it when you go for like the keeper time,
Yeah.
and then you concentrate on that. But we have a lot of stuff from that, and maybe we go a little further with choosing stuff like this for the very next time.
Yeah. Now I know you worked on Avantasia. How was doing that?
That was a great experience, There was
Mm.
great stuff doing. It was kind of a feeling of like the very first one was like a double album,
Hmm.
or part 1 and 2, and it got me back and a little bit into that keeper one
Right.
feeling where we wanted to do a double album, and then it's got split it in two individual albums. I got a little bit back into that feeling, and the tracks were great. It
Hmm.
was really fun to play it. This Tobias guy is very, very talented songwriter, great singer, a very, very great entertainer. I like him a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Did he ever ask you to work on like a third album with him
No,
or anything?
I think he's playing the bass himself, which
Oh
he was
yeah.
doing very cool actually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. He used to do that in his old band, Ed Guy.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was playing like 1 or 2 shows with that guy, with the bass player got needs to go to the hospital
Oh really?
because his wife was expecting the first or second child.
Hmm.
So I was there in Wacken for like 2 shows, for like 2 songs, but I
Yeah.
was then on 2 more further English shows, and then he got that call, and I took over, played 1 or 2 shows with that guy. But that was years ago. I think you can find it somewhere on the internet. Markus
Yeah.
Grosskopf,
Yeah.
that guy. But that was
Well,
fun. That was
apparently everything
fun.
I read on the internet's wrong now, anyway. So.
Yeah, but that was one thing that was true.
Yeah. All right. Good. Something. At least something was
That's the
true.
thing you didn't read.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Uh, how's it been with Sasha and everything? I mean, he's got another band out, right? He has his own thing, Palace or something. I think it's called.
Yeah, Palace. He's going to do very, very different stuff from Helloween with that band,
Hmm. Yeah.
which is cool. And I saw him live in Hamburg. It's great stuff, good old 80s synthesizer kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's very, very different. He thought if he's doing something uh, right next to Halloween, it shouldn't be something like Halloween, and so he did.
Right.
He went for a totally different way, which is cool,
Yeah.
And he's kind of when we did rehearsals for the United stuff, he's kind of a very, very good like musical director because he's very good with harmonies and stuff like this, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. He's awesome. He brought a lot of different elements to Halloween. I think he brought more of
Yeah,
like a progressive element to
yeah,
Halloween.
yeah. He's very good with all the different harmonies, and I play more bluesy in a way,
Yeah.
like the way it comes natural. He's got more like that scale stuff and all that, very, very clever uh, 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 stuff he's got down, and that's very
Yeah.
challenging all the time. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. He's brought a lot of good stuff to Halloween.
Yeah,
Really enjoy the stuff that he's done.
yeah,
He's working well with Kai now too.
yeah. But it's great. They kicking the balls to each other and having ideas and giving different opinions about, and they talking a lot. Of course, if you have a riff, then or like a solo bit, then there's a lot of uh, discussions about how you can do it better. Because 3 persons working on one chorus line can be very interesting.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of different ideas, and that only makes it better. It's not always easy, and it takes a lot of time. It needs the time to grow, but it's good to have all those ideas. You have a big choice of like what you can do better, or bringing it to the point.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? One thing I meant to ask before when we were talking about drummers and stuff. Mike Cross was in the band for like a very short time, and then he
Yeah,
ended
yeah,
up getting
yeah.
sick.
Yeah, he kind of got sick with some sickness. I don't even know the name, but it
Oh,
took him away from the scene for 1.5 years or something.
yeah,
How
I
was
remember.
that called?
I remember the sickness. Oh God,
Yeah,
mono maybe or something.
I haven't got any idea.
I can't remember.
I never heard about it. I
Yeah,
never knew that something like this is existing, you know. But
yeah,
then it had to hit our drummer, and we had just to carry on, you know.
yeah.
That was the time my Mickey D came in.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I wanted to ask it back then.
yeah, yeah.
But, was he ever going to stay in the band
I don't
if he
know
got better?
what I don't know. Then we had to carry on, and then you know he was doing something totally different, and then we had a stable member. You know, suddenly
Yeah,
we couldn't just wait for another year or something.
yeah,
So we had to carry on in a way. We did this waiting for years and years when we had the struggle with the record companies, you know,
yeah.
and we didn't want to do it again, you know.
Mm. Oh, and then actually you had in between Mickey and Mike Cross, you had what's his name from Accept?
Stefan Kaufmann.
Yes, 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 yes.
Stefan Schwarzmann.
Yeah, what happened with that? Because he actually did record some songs, but then he just disappeared.
Yeah, but then he went back to Accept after that,
Oh, okay.
and it wasn't. He is a great drummer, but the stuff we are doing with all that complicated double bass
Mm.
kind of rolls and all that. It wasn't just his. He's good doing straight stuff,
Right.
except then he's a killer. But then it went a little complicated when it comes to a little more complicated Helloween stuff, you know.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, that's why I think Danny is just awesome. I mean, the
Yeah,
things that
yeah,
he does on the drums, it's just I can't even comprehend the shit that he
yeah.
does.
That's what we wanted to have for Halloween, you know, because
Yeah.
not everybody is able to. It's hard to find a drummer being able to do this, you know.
Right.
And you have Mickey. He did one song a day without listening to the stuff. He came into the studio. He had the CD with the demo tapes, just for like a couple of days, and then come into the studio. And he's able to do such a thing. And then we needed something, being able to reproduce it. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not
Did you
easy.
ever did you ever hear Danny's other band at Rawhead Rex?
No, I didn't listen to it. But
No.
that's a good idea to listen to that and to
Well, I'm
roll it.
giving you a lot of I'm giving you a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
ideas to listen today.
yeah. I have
You
some
got a
time.
nice playlist. All right, I won't keep you too much longer.
All
Kai
right.
Hansen, do you think Kai Hansen is going to do anything with Gamma Rays? Anything on the works
I
with
don't
that?
know. I think he did a couple of festival shows
Yeah,
last summer. So I don't know if he's carrying on, but priority is of course Halloween.
yeah,
It's eating up a lot of his time, and now he's got a new kid in town.
right.
He's
Yep,
got a
yep,
new
yep.
baby, so he's got to take care of that. So he said he's going to do some shows from time to time if he's got the time for it, you know.
Mm. Yeah, because I know he just announced like a new singer in the band, and all of a sudden the
Oh,
Halloween
all
tour
right,
kicked off, and that was the
all
end of
right.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Things just happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, now you got the release of the new the live DVD.
Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah.
we it's like three. We are in the beginning. We wanted to have like one solid show, but
Mm.
then we were checking all this material, finding out that there's a lot of very very emotional, good stuff on the other shows as well. You know, and then we
Right.
decided to do like three shows. I mean, you can see the concert and on YouTube, the full show, or you've been there already. But and then we thought it
Right.
might be a good idea to do something different for the live DVD. You know, it's
Hmm.
been three killer shows, and we decided to put them all together. I think it's a cool idea. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think so too. And I can't wait till it gets released. When is it? This month, right?
October,
October. Okay. All right.
September. It will be soon in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Right.
Yeah. So was that the plan to like finally release something? Because I know when you did when they did that first festival thing, everybody was hoping there was going to be a DVD, and now you got
Yeah. That was clear that we're going to record some stuff, but it was up to the recordings if we're going to release it. But then it was a great reaction from the audience, you know.
yeah,
So there was a lot of energy going on, and we thought it's a good idea to bring that out.
yeah, yeah. Definitely a good idea. All right. Any idea when the new album's going to be out?
It's going to be studio time October, November, December. We have some January, February mixing time, mastering time. Then you need to get it pressed and all that. And I think it's coming out early summer next year. And
Okay.
then we probably will be touring in early mid autumn next year.
Awesome.
That's the
Well,
rough plan.
I cannot wait. I will send you my address, and you can send me an advanced copy.
All right. I guess, yeah. I guess after it will be out, it will be on the internet as soon as it is it out. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it will be.
Nowadays, there's no secrets anymore.
There is not, which is a shame. But I will not download it illegally. I will buy it, as you see.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
buy
All
everything.
right, all right. You
I
got a couple of
promise.
records
I got a
right
few,
behind you.
just a few of them.
It's just
All right.
the one. It's just the one room, right?
Just a whole other shit outside. No, please. I wish. Actually, there's a group on Facebook. A lot of really cool guys in there. It's a Helloween collectors group, and
All right.
we all share our collections on there. And there's a couple guys on there that you will not believe how much shit that they have.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like bootlegs. There's great if you ever go to Japan for some reason. They
Really?
have like real well sorted bootleg shops. You know, actually it's not loud, but better they're better sorted out than any CD shop I know from all over the world. You know, they have like tons of Kiss and AC/DC and Iron Maiden bootlegs from each and every tour with like great covers, great artworks, and sounding pretty well from time to time. You know.
Yeah. What do you think about all those bootlegs? I mean, they're making money off, without giving it to you. But what do you feel about that?
What can I say? I mean, I make money with it. They make money with it. You cannot really stop it. So why not enjoying it?
At least your music's getting out there. So
yeah. Well, what I cannot understand really is if somebody takes like very very crappy, lousy recordings from the live shows where you cannot even see what's going on and the sound is real rubbish. So why putting it onto the net? You know, it's not. It's visual. It's crap, and then the sound you wouldn't hear a note. Why? You know.
Yeah.
If it's good quality, it's kind of interesting to wake up. You do a show. You wake up the next morning, and you can check the show the very next morning on the internet. If it's sounding good, you can say, "Wow, cool." The way I was moving last night. But if you cannot see and you cannot hear anything, then I really don't understand it.
Exactly. And I just talking about this, remember one more thing. The live in the I think the UK. There's a couple different names for that album. You only had like a few songs on there. The whole rest of that show, whatever happened to the rest of that show?
I don't know. We were asking ourselves what happened to the rest of the show, with the idea maybe doing something with it. But I don't know if that was with Noise. The Noise has been sold to some other company, and that company changed to some. I don't know. It might be somewhere around the world, with the situation that each and every company has been sold to another company, became a part from that company to in that company, and all that kind of stuff. So we don't really know where it is really.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day it'll be found. All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, even though you were an hour late. I'll forgive you.
All right. But therefore, I had a lot of more time to talking to you, because when there's other interviews, we only have like half an hour.
Oh, really? All right. Good.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the extra time. I really appreciate it.
All right.
I was really looking forward to talking to you, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, and you.
All righty. Have a good night.
Righty.
Or day, whatever time. What time is it over there?
It's 2:30.
2:30. Okay. It's 8:30 in the morning.
And then go and kick your cat.
Oh, please. Now I'm not going to kick my cat. All right. Have a good night.
All right.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Cheers.
All right. I really appreciate Markus Grosskopf coming on Rat Salad Review, and thank you for watching. I just want to say a few things that we are sponsors of the Hameen Media Group. Please go check them out. You can just do a search, Hameen Media Group, Hacker Hameen. All their content is on there. The wrestling and conspiracy shows, horror shows, Star Wars shows, just, you name it, they pretty much have it over there. So it's very, very cool stuff. Go check them out. Responses all month long. And also go check out our stuff at ratsaladreview.com. And we're also on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all that. Just do a search on us and you will find us. We come up everywhere. So thank you very much for watching. And please subscribe. I think you hit the button up there, maybe. There's a button somewhere on YouTube or wherever you're watching this or listening. Hit the subscribe button, please. Please. We just want some more subs. Alright. See you guys next week. Again, thank you for Markus Grosskopf. And go check out the new Helloween album when it comes out. Alright? Adios.